What's up, everybody? It's Jeffrey Lyles welcoming you to another edition of Lyles Figure Files. Hopefully, everybody's had a good week so far. It's Thursday. Got one more day to go before we can fully enjoy this weekend. I see a lot of you all are already in the chat. Hopefully, you've got your answers to the big question: what would be your Holy Grail vehicle? We'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to say what's up to everybody here in the chat. We got Badger Wolf Prime, 80s kid from the 90s, Jamlin Parks, Ryan Daly's here, James Green, Brent Dash. What's up, everybody? Robert's Infinite Realms, Skew Raiders here. What's going on? Yeah, lots of stuff. Let's break it all down. As usual, let me know what you guys picked up this week. I have a bunch of stuff coming from Hasbro, taking advantage of some things I want to talk about, but also the latest round of G.I. Joe Classified series, which I feel like I do and say all the time. So Target had a really good sale. One of their buy $60, get $10 off. So I finally got Low Light. Really happy to get the Classified series figure of him. And of course, I did what I always do. I checked the bottom of these bad boys just to make sure there's no issues. He is, in fact, in the box. So got him. And we also got Tunnel Rat, my only other one of that wave that I had not picked up. He's also in here. I'm going to spare you the opening on that. But they also had the orb, and I'm really close to finishing my Puff Adder. I just need one more figure, and getting him through a sale was really great, really cool. So excited to get him done and just need the head from Ultimate Captain America so I can have another Build-A-Figure done. And I still get that sense of satisfaction actually completing a Build-A-Figure in 2023. Snake Eyes, what's going on? 80s Kid. Greetings, Badger Wolf. Afton Child is here as well. You got some cooler weather. Nice to open the windows. What was it? Because here it's a little too cold. It's like 53 here in Maryland. Eddie Rodriguez is checking in from the gym. Nice. Looking forward to some toys talk to keep me occupied. Hopefully. Robert, thank you for asking. I'm doing pretty good. I'd say on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a solid 7. So that's not bad. A little bit of room left for improvement, but could be a lot worse. James Green also wants to know, what's up, Thursday Night Crew? Did anyone pick up some good stuff this week? So I told you what I got. Let's see here. 80s Hit bought Transformers Rise of the Beast on Blu-ray at Walmart. So my thing on Blu-rays is there's quite a few things that I want to pick up, and that's going to be one of them. But when November strikes, that means anything I haven't bought earlier has to wait till the end of the month, or depending on when Amazon or Target or even Walmart decide to do their sales. There's a time where I'm like, yeah, I think you can go a little bit lower. And it's a game of Russian roulette, I admit. But I find like it tends to work. I know we don't have the traditional Black Friday, which was so much fun. And it just reminds me, it's Thanksgiving. Of course, that's going to be on a Thursday. So I need to figure out which day I'm going to do Lyles Figure Files, because I won't be doing this live on Thanksgiving Day. Jamlin says I have boxes to open up. 2 are from Walmart, so I know they're Joe's. True, me too. I've got the mole rat coming from Walmart, and I've got another mole rat and the Crimson Alley Viper from Pulse, and then a separate order, because I know they're going to be 3 boxes. I have Shooter coming, and of those 3/4 figures I'm getting, Shooter's the one I'm really looking forward to introducing another original Joe to the squad. That's going to be really fun. And that's cool to get another new Joe into the line. So a lot of us were like, hey, who's Shooter? I was excited to see her announced. And then her figure came out so well, got that Zoe Saldana look to her. So I'm very excited about adding her to the collection. So let's see. One has YOLO Park Transformer kits, and the other is something from Hasbro. 80s Kid says, I saw Studio Series Mirage today at Walmart. I reminded myself I was going to buy Bazooka at Big Bad Toy Store soon. Brent Dash says, what up, guys? I got Luke Cage and Agent Helix from Big Bad Toy Store. Nice. Yeah, they're slowly getting in more of these Joes. I saw Helix was up for in stock now, and that was kind of exciting. I really think I'm not going to be able to hold off once Hawk gets up there too. But for now, it's like, okay, we got Buzzer, we got Helix now. Hawk, I think, takes it to 75. So getting really close, but not quite pulling it just there. James, I like that movie. I like Transformers too. I thought it was fun. I was seeing a lot of people not loving it, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun movie, and I could actually make out who was who, which is very key for me in a live action Transformers movie. Happy Turkey Month indeed. The other Holy Grail. Okay, I'm gonna get to that. Has anyone been taking advantage of the recent Big Bad Toy Store sales? They have had some really good sales, and to the point where they're doing a daily one where it's like, oh man, do I want this one? Okay, not this, but they had a lot of really good stuff. I don't think that I checked today now that you mentioned that. Oh, okay. So here's what's today's big sale from Big Bad Toy Store. Another really good one. The Ultimate RoboCop Battle Damage RoboCop with chair, originally $78. Now it's 45. That's a really nice looking set, and it's got a ton of stuff. So I feel like that's a really good deal. You get him in the chair, a little LCD slash whatever screen of RoboCop there. We got some monitors, got the chairs. I mean, this is solid accessories here. We got this, the spike fist, got some gun blast effects, the alternate heads, really cool stuff here for the low price of $45. So really nice deal. Can't be upset with that. And again, Big Bad Toy Store is really killing it with these sales as of late. Daily. And they also have holiday sales. They also have all kinds of sales. You got to check them pretty much every day at this point. Badgerwolf Prime says, I received a good amount from Big Bad Toy Store this week. Black Series McCory, Vader, and Obi-Wan, War of the Bounty Hunters, Boba Fett, Cosca Reeves, Carbonized Boba Fett, and Stormtrooper. Yeah, you really did take care of their sales on this one. I also received Jedi Legend Obi-Wan from Walmart. Nice. I took advantage of some of the less expensive Black Series as well. What's up, Blake Tarpley? In the building. What's up, all? Keith Feinstein's here as well. What's going on, man? Hey. Snake Eyes got the amp suit from Avatar. Nice. Great to see you, Jeff. Happy belated birthday. I will take it. Thank you so much, Badgerwolf. Vin Doom. Happy Friday Eve. Yes. Can't ever forget that about Thursday. It's the second best part of it. My favorite part is being able to hang out with you all. But yes, that means just one more day of the long, long week. Tom Fan 2018, what's up? Marvel Select Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. Loving both of them. I finally saw them at my local comic store, Third Eye Comics, and they really did look impressive. I was kind of like, oh, cool. I just wish they had a Human Torch and a thing that would match up at that same level of quality, because I've dabbled, I've gotten a few Marvel Select figures, and I think those two would be good enough to add to the collection. But of course, if you got half the Fantastic Four, you don't have the Fantastic Four. James says, I feel Jamelin Parks. I have some Masters of the Universe figures on the way from Big Bad Toy Stores. Which one? Vin Doom picked up the Beast Kingdom 89 Batman. Yeah, that one was a really good sale as well. And Blake got the McFarlane Whirly Batcopter. Now my Superpowers Classic Batman has arrived. McFarlane also has a sale going on over on his toy store right now. And this is kind of an interesting one because it's for, of course, I won't be able to find it just now. Lord Death from the Batman series. Of course, now I have to check to make sure I'm actually on the right one. There it is. All right. Yes. Lord Death. He's on sale today. Special Day of the Dead sale. $10. Regularly $17.99. $10 is normally the clearance price that I buy these figures. Not even 10% off. I get them for $10. So that's a pretty good deal. I'm curious what their shipping is going to be, because that would be a really good price to pay for him if there's some other stuff on their site as well. But definitely nice to see a nicely timed clearance sale. 45 degrees at the moment here in South Carolina. Badgerwolf, that is chilly. LaRue 1989. Okay, that's your pick for the Holy Grail vehicle. Robert's Infinite Realms is 25 this morning, dancing around 35 now. Yikes. Blake, I am feeling better. I'm actually having the full use of my back without the need of a heat pad, which is great since I think Sunday was the last time I was able to function well on that. Like sitting down this week has been a pain, literally, but now I'm actually doing it without any pain or heat pad, so I feel pretty good. Hopefully that stays on through the night, and the other stuff will get taken care of, hopefully, real soon. Ah, yeah, I saw the Megatron. His tank was on sale. What was that 45 today? That was another good price. Doc Avenger just got my shooter, mole rats, and my Mezco Morbius. What do you think of the Mezco Morbius, Doc? Vin Doom also ordered the 89 Joker Beast Kingdom on sale on Big Bad Toy Store. Man, we should have BBTS sponsor this episode, right? Robert says, I got Tomax's aim out of the Ollie's price. Nice. Blade and Power Man. Also, Rick Steiner at last. Nice. Steiner line. Doc Avenger. Ooh, the Crimson Pack came really quick. What'd you think of that one? JT the Grind. What's going on, man? Lefty Two Lions BK. Greetings, LMF crew. Hope everyone is doing well this evening. Walmart orders for Shooter Mole Rats and Crimson Alley Vipers arrived. That's funny. I feel like I'm not that far away from Walmart, but it seems like a lot of people who place these orders for those figures seemingly the same time that I did are already getting them in stock or getting them delivered, where I'm still having to wait till like Saturday. Now, I did see on my order update that it were delayed for whatever reason, but I'm still a little bit salty right now with some of these orders. And I just saw today that there's some video reviews of Shadow Trackers, so I guess he's going to be coming real soon too. I'm really looking forward to breaking him out and playing around with all those different mask helmets that it got for him, because he looks like he could be a sneaky G.I. Joe / Cobra figure of the year contender. Blake says, oh, by the way, I was at a Walgreens and saw 3 Moonstones in 3 centuries. Anybody need? Jeff. Mike Hex actually hooked me up with one of the Century, so I've got him covered. I need to crack him open, review him, and do all that fun stuff. But I am covered on him. I wish they would have done Moonstone in her traditional comic book attire from back in the earlier days, because I would have copped her so quick. Remember when we used to go to Walgreens and get all these cool figures, and they were actually putting out some really useful figures, and all of a sudden the well went super dry. I wish they would get back into doing Marvel Legends and other figures that were exclusive to their stores, because I thought in terms of the exclusive store properties, they did pretty well about keeping their stores stocked once they finally got them in there. Doc Avenger, the mindless wave came. Shame they did a Bath Army builder. Yeah, I don't know what the thought was with that. I watched a video, I think on Paralleled Universe, is breaking down all of his fixes for the Luke Cage figure, and it seems like a lot of work, but to get that full torso articulation, Jamelin mentioned it, I think just last week, on what he did. So I'm really curious to see how much surgery I'm going to actually have to do. It's been a long time since I've fixed or customized the figure, so I'm a little bit leery, a little bit anxious, but hopefully I can make mine work just as cool as some of you guys have done in fixing that Luke Cage. Daniel Ruiz. Hey, what's up, Jeff? Hope you're doing good. I currently have the flu, but I got to show my support, man. I hope you feel better, get a lot of good fluids in you, and hopefully you can unwind and relax and watch some cool movies while you're resting up too. I recently got the Killmonger from What If for $10 and Henry Cavill from Target. Yeah, he's on sale right now on Amazon for a really good price as well, and you cannot knock that whatsoever. And again, this is that fun time of year, because it's like, all right, what else are y'all going to have on sale for me? Because if you're doing $10 figures right now, then what is going to be happening later on? And I just swung over to Amazon just to see. And the Black Series Wakanda Forever Ironheart is $1963. I'm not quite sure if that's a better price than what Ollie's has her for. Maybe they have her for 15. But yeah, the Killmonger for $10, really solid deal. And this Rescue and Captain Marvel set is $28.99, but just a few weeks back it was down to $19.99, which is a really ridiculous price for two really well done figures. The Spider-Man multi-pack set has been soaring back up to 127, was dipping back and forth between 122, 118, 119. Now it's dropped down to $70. I think it was as low as 52. And I think that's the price where I'm going to jump on it, because as cool as I think some of these characters in this set, and I'm talking about, the Fly and Armadillo, or Razorback. I'm sorry, I don't know why I was calling him Armadillo. Those two are really cool. I think the Silvermane's okay. I think he could have been better, but I really think they could have done a better job of Mole Man. I think they just mold Tin Man, not Mole Man. He's not hanging with the subterranean crew fighting the Fantastic Four. I think they could have done a better mold choice for him, because he looks a little bit too scrawny, a little bit too thin. And I don't need another tiny Spider-Man, even though I have a massive Spider-Verse shelf. So once this drops down a little bit lower, I think we're going to bite, and hopefully we'll get another crack at that West Coast Avengers set, because I've got a shirt all set to rock for it now. Lots of cheap Mezco on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. Well, that's interesting. What do they got on sale? Let's find out. Because one of the sticky things for me with collecting Mezco figures was, guys, these figures are a bit too much for me in my blood. But now we're dropping down to on sale prices for them. I could be convinced to pay a little bit more attention and grab a few more. Now, looking on their site, and I don't see anything that's really jumping. Oh, okay, here we go. So we got our Cyclops. It's still not quite the version I wanted. He's $60. Not terrible, but yeah, I mean, I'm still not like, oh man, I've got to grab these figures. Now this Robin, a little bit cheaper. I'm down for this one, because this figure I think is really cool. So much better than any other Robin figure in this outfit, this style that we've gotten so far. So I think he's a really nice figure. Hopefully he'll come a little bit cheaper than that, 95. You got Cable for $60. That's really good. This one is still the set that I'm most interested in, though. This Fantastic Four one, because it looks great, at least this way, because the Human Torch, they couldn't quite figure out a way to nail him, which I understand is complicated. So this take on the Fantastic Four is really great. And then we've got Thor Ragnarok. There you go. You can use your words. $75 for Hulk, $60 for Cable. Got an Alien on sale for $65. So nice sales. Mezco's X-Force Wolverine for $48. Really nice. Okay, so there's some really good prices here. I know everybody loves Captain Marvel. She's $48. That is a really massive sale for any Mezco figure. We got the Wonder Woman for $56. It looks a little bit too big for me, but that's a solid figure for under $70. I mean, these are really great prices, right? Thanks for putting me up, Blake. I don't know where I'm messing up everybody's name today, but yeah, these are really good. Blake, how many of these have you gotten? Snake Eyes, hey Jeff, have you seen any Thundercats stuff? No, I haven't been back to my toy store yet, or comic book store yet. And does Big Bad Toy Store have Thundercats stuff, and is it on sale? I don't know. I need the Dreadnoughts. Dreadnoughts or Dreadnoughts? Does Big Bad Toy Store charge for shipping? Daniel, they charge a flat rate of $4.99, which is great, because you can get stuff like a Hot Toys figure, super huge box. Sideshow Collectibles will charge maybe $20 for shipping, but they'll hit you with $4.99, which is great. And they've got their pile of loot deal as well, so lots of good options for them. Omega 579 says, hey, what's happening? Duval, all right, Duval's in the house. 80s Kids says, I can't wait to save up for the new year and buy stuff at BBTS. Jamelin, Diamond made a recent Human Torch, but still have yet to update the thing. Thank you. Doc Avenger says, thinking of grabbing 2 Loose Collectors Werewolves to use as Lobo Brothers from Spider-Man, which they were wearing torn up pants. Oh yeah, Blade just reminded me, I did get 2 Whirly Bats this week. 2 Whirly Bats this week. Kelly Cox, hey Jeff, glad to see you. Good to see you better. Thank you. I'm feeling much better. Plastic Syndicate. My Holy Grail is the Hyatt Toys Alien APC. Nice. That's definitely a good one. It's 50-ish degrees early today, but now it's cold. Yeah, 80s. It was 50-ish here, and I don't need to step outside to know it's much colder now. Jamlin, the only problem with McFarlane site sales is the shipping. Yeah, dude, their shipping is terrible. It's like, oh man, I've got a great deal, and all of a sudden you see that shipping, and it's like, this is more than the figure that I'm getting on sale. James Green, it's those new from the old He-Man cartoon. Nice. Those are cool. Doc Avenger, with Marvel Select, they already did the thing. He looks a little fat. Yeah, he's not great. Emmanuel Silvera, what's going on? Glad you're back. Hope you're feeling better. Holy Grail is a TIE Interceptor, which I have in my collection. Me too. I haven't figured out where the heck I'm putting it, but I do have it as well. Used to have the original 80s Battle Cat once. I think they're doing the I'm pretty sure he's back in the retro collection as well. The most obscure Spider-Man villains. True. Doc Avenger says Morbius is cool. I'm sorry I missed the Mezco. Moon Knight, Blade, Punisher, and Doctor Strange. Layton putting together Midnight Suns on the waiting list for a lot of Mezco. Got the Justice League. That's cool. Yeah, you gotta watch BBTS Mezco. They often have some for 50% off or up to 50% off. That's a really good deal. Doc Avenger says that Damian Robin is magnificent. He is so much better. What's up, Matthew? How you doing? Blake says haven't bought any Mezco recently. Last one was Destro. What'd you think of Destro? Tiger Stripe Wolverine, Conan, and yes, that is my Cyclops, the OG scuba suit version from the early 80s. But doesn't it have that weird X pattern to it? Because that is the look I want. And that's the one that will push me over, but I feel like they still had some weird Mezco tech pattern in that costume. Green Man, I'm waiting on the 5-point Mezco Godzilla box set to go on sale. After I'm really jealous if you're getting snow because we have not had anything of any note here in way too long. Ryan says it should have 3 snow serpents shipping soon from Pulse. I'm glad they're back in stock because, you know, if you can't have snow serpents and snow job on your site for people to buy in November and December, what are you even doing? So yeah, let's get into some of the other news because I was pretty excited about this. And speaking of sales and all that great stuff, Hasbro Pulse is getting in on the fun as well. They've decided if every store and everybody's going to get their clearance, then we're going to do it as well. Maybe not quite as well as Ollie's, but we're going to start. So we've got this new What If wave that's literally in stores right now. You can go to Target, find pretty much most of these guys. They're already putting them up on clearance. Is that a sign that nobody wants this line? I don't know, but I think it's pretty encouraging that even Pulse has a current wave cheaper than $24.99. I always say that $19.99 was the perfect price point for Marvel Legends, and even Pulse agrees. So if you got that Pulse Premium membership, you're just paying what you would have back in the day plus tax, and still probably going to come out a little cheaper anyway. So not a bad deal to get Yelena, Goliath, the Bill Foster version with no headless or no maskless version. We got Agatha Harkness, the new Nick Fury from that terrible Secret Invasion show. We've also got Talos. We've got Kingpin. Then they got this really great Blitzwing that was originally like $55 for $29.91. That's a really great price for a good figure. Then we got some more Spider-Verse characters, and I know everybody was really trying to grab them when they were on clearance prices. So we got Jessica Drew, we got the Spot, this really cool Transformers Legacy, Nemesis Leo Prime, so a few more Transformers. I don't keep up with all these different versions. You send me some G1 stuff, I'm all over it. And then we got this Guardians of the Galaxy line that was really on sale all over, and these aren't bad either, except for Kraglin. They're all $15, $29 or around that price point. So that's really good because I feel like most of those, unless you waited to the last second and your store still had them in stock, you're only getting them for $7.49, but $15 is a pretty decent price point. Then we've got the latest Chode wave, so you can get all of them. Kid Omega, Corsair, Monet, Fang. Fang's a really underrated figure in this wave. I think he was really well done. You can get then Emma and Cyclops. So you got the whole wave. I'm pretty sure that's everybody. 246. So yeah, you can get Chode for cheaper than retail. That's really good. They got Palpatine finally. This was a really good clearance price because I can't bring myself to pay $25 for an Ewok, but getting Paplu for $14.91, really great price. And you can tell that other people agreed because he's one of the few that are sold out. And then another really good sale was this X-Men villain set, and I was really close to pulling the trigger because I thought that was a really good price too. 102 for 5 figures, most of which, if you missed out on that strife, were all new figures. So a really good deal there. Bib Fortuna also on sale. Then you've got some of the Puff Adder wave. You've got the Orb. You've got Extremis Iron Man, which I did pick up via this sale, getting him for $17.91. A really important version of Iron Man. Really cool to get him. So I was like, yeah, definitely got to make that move and grab him before it's too late. I was too late to get Puff Adder's head and also the accessory of the Ultimate Captain America figure. But the rest of the wave is also here. Got Wonder Man, a sneaky good figure. Could have been a little, there's some fixes they could have done, but I still like the figure. Then you got Elena Belova comic book version. Then we got Baron Von Strucker. So some recent waves from Marvel Legends there. And then Salt Marie, I feel like I'm butchering his name. He's sold out, one of the few. I still feel like $12 for vintage collection figures seems like a little bit too much. But then we got your retro collection Lando for $9.13. Not a bad price. Then we got Luthen and Mon Mothma for $15.91. Those are good prices for Andor figures, especially since I'm not finding them in any store. So Pulse may be the way to go for those two. Then more, got the classic Wolverine for $17.54. Good price for him. The Leo Prime Maximal. Then more Transformers, really good prices. I love clearance, so this is great. The HK87 for $17.99. More vintage collections. Still priced a little bit too high for me, but not bad. So it's just one page of clearance figures right now. But this is kind of exciting because it's like, okay, a few more weeks they're going to do their Pulse Black Friday time frame sale. So probably a good idea to start putting some stuff in your cart, just waiting for that sale to drop. And if this is one of those deals where if you have the Pulse Premium membership, the savings are going to be even more. If you don't, you're still going to pay, and paying for shipping for these big sales is going to cost you. And eventually, if you buy enough stuff from Pulse, especially if you're getting these Pulse exclusive G.I. Joe stuff alone, that $50 pays for itself in no time. So definitely recommend that. All right, so let's see. Break it on down, see what you guys are saying about all of that stuff. Ryan got the shipping email from Walmart that the exclusive Obi-Wan Kenobi is shipping, but won't arrive until next week. They're shipping via skateboard instead of truck. If it's going to take that long, it might be. I don't bother buying stuff from Pulse since they charge $10 for shipping. That is a lot for shipping, but that's exactly what I'm saying. What? Nice, Hasbro using their brain. Yeah, man, it's definitely the way to go with that. Snake Eyes wants to know, how is the Ghostbusters HasLab doing? It's funded. It's all the way done. I think they've reached all the tiers. They needed 10,000 backers. Let me pull it up. Needed 10,000 backers. It's got 11,808. Let me pull in here. I'm not buying this. I didn't keep up with the tiers, but let's see here. Looks like they're rolling fine. And it really speaks to how popular Ghostbusters is in terms of their fan base, because they're like, let's support this thing. I don't see any tiers, so I think it's just all done. So I don't know what they're going to do for the rest of this time period, but it's all done. So I won't be keeping up with this one at all. Doc Avenger says, 80s, you might want to get a Pulse membership. It pays for itself. No shipping costs. Yeah, it's not $50 a month. It's $50 a year, 80s kids. So you can easily pay for, like, all right, if it's $10 for shipping, if I bought 5 figures, it's done. So once you factor that in, because you're gonna pay for shipping from Amazon, Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store. If you get free shipping, you're paying for it. And since Pulse has so much exclusive stuff where you can't get it anywhere, conceivably, eventually some of this stuff is showing up in big BBTS and Entertainment Earth. later on down the road, but you're still paying for shipping. So it does pay for itself. It's definitely one of those things where it's like, am I really paying a membership? And I know there's something kind of weird about paying for the privilege of getting stuff early and paying for shipping early, but it really does balance out, especially over the course of the year, where it's like, yeah, okay, I'm just paying tax for it. Perfect. So that was how I felt when I got the retro Storm Shadow and this clearance Iron Man Extremis version. It's like, cool, no shipping. And now that Amazon's raised their free shipping minimum to $35, it's a lot harder to find some more stuff that doesn't just mean like, why am I buying something else extra? Back when it was $25 for that free shipping, it was really easy. Now it's like, what else do I need to put in there? And that's going to jack that price of what I'm paying up a whole lot more. Going with Pulse premium membership really pays off, especially if you get a HasLab. Exactly. It pays for itself after 4 or 5 orders or one HasLab. Exactly, Ryan. Because what is that, like $30? Maybe it's $20 for HasLab shipping. So it really does pay for itself. Doc Avenger, my problem with Pulse is they shouldn't be running out of stuff. I think you're right. They should not ever really sell out of things, especially on pre-orders. It's like, how have you sold out on something that hasn't even arrived yet? So, but I find that most of the time they eventually get stuff back in stock, and most of the time when they restock, it doesn't go away in like hours. It's there for a bit. So, like Zartan, Retro, Storm Shadow, they're there right now, and trying to get them. Excuse me, trying to get those figures through. Excuse me, trying to get those figures through Walmart was an exercise in frustration. And of course, just because I said something, maybe I was the one that bought the very last Retro Storm Shadow. So maybe that was on me. Sorry, guys. All right, let's see if the Zartan's still in stock, because he's another one that I'm like, okay, he's out of stock too. I jinxed this. I shouldn't have mentioned anything, but they were in stock for like weeks. I think people did like what I did. They saw the clearance stuff. Well, what else do I want to get? And now they finally got them. $4 a month, yeah, you can break it down like that, I suppose. I mean, I'm definitely not like, you should buy this Pulse Premium membership. It just pays for itself if you spend any money on Pulse exclusives and buy a lot of Hasbro stuff. Felix Fijian says, good evening, Jeff and chat. How are you today, Felix? Ryan says Pulse is like an overstock warehouse for their own stuff. They prioritize shipping to every other retailer distributor first, for sure. Oh, Felix does mention Hasbro has an eBay store, discounts and free shipping too. That is true. Pulse shipping is free. What is it? You have to hit like 79 to get the free shipping. Deadpool and Bob are back in stock too, right? And that was one I know a lot of you all were looking for and were upset that it wasn't in stock. And it is still, unlike my announcer's jinx from earlier, this is still in stock right now. So you can add it to your cart and grab it. All right, there are 3 other tiers at 12,000, 15, and 18,000. They haven't unlocked the first one yet, but they're close. They should have no trouble reaching them all. Oh yeah, thank you, because I did not see that at all when I was just scrolling through, probably too fast. But I'm with you. I think the Ghostbusters fan base is going to make sure that it gets funded, no problem. Keith says the reason Ghostbusters HasLab's all fun is that every one of them is a bullseye of a dream toy. That's true. They have tiers, the cards they use in the site test, and something else in a belt to carry the equipment. Thanks, Doc Avenger. Oh, you're still waiting for Cobra Eels. That's not good. That was definitely one of those things where it's like, this is a lot that I'm paying to get them when they came back in stock on Amazon. But I figured if I decided to come back later, I'm going to regret it. I'm going to want a few more. So I just was like, let's get all the eels that I want right now, and I'll just worry about it and deal with it later. So I'm glad that worked out for me. Hopefully they get some more in stock for the rest of you all who want to build up an eel army the proper way. James is with me. 80s kids, trust me, it's worth the $50. I get stuff from them all the time because a lot of figures don't hit the stores out here like that. Big Bad Toy Store is charging 45 for his R10. Yeah, see that's where BBTS has really great sales, but sometimes it's the other way around. Felix says that Deadpool is nice. I agree with you. It's a really cool looking figure. Lar A says I still compare Pulse prices to their Hasbro Hasbro Toy Shop eBay store. Sometimes eBay's other sellers have the same Marvel Legends figures for even cheaper. AI and ML, it works. Jamlin says, I wish those dang eels would come back. I really hope the retro ones are just a darker gray or something and still have the same gear. That's true. They are doing those. So we do make out okay eventually with those guys. Matthew, I got my 2 eels and 4 snow serpents. 1 eel had significant QC issues. I've got Helix in my pile of loot. What happened with your eel? That's not good. All right, so let's talk about another thing that had me really excited today or this week. And I felt like there was not a whole lot of stuff that dropped in terms of news, but this definitely had me excited. I don't have a Hasbro Qui-Gon, but SH Figure Arts dropped this because it's the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace, and it's nice to see somebody paying attention to it. And I know we got the Black Series, Padme, and young little Annie, but I think this is what a lot of people think of when they think of Phantom Menace: Darth Maul, Qui-Gon Jinn. So we got these figures coming from Figure Arts, and they both look really, really cool. You can get this out in the Tatooine desert. Everybody's wearing their cloaks. Everybody was cloak fu fighting. Got that look. And then this is just so cool looking, having both of these with the blade in motion effect piece. Love those. And this Darth Maul looks great. I have the original one from Figure Arts, and I don't have a Qui-Gon on any version. And we've got his drone as well. That looks great. Love to see that kind of thing. But Darth Maul, man, he is ready to go. He's ready for action. Now with his saber split, he's ready to take on Obi-Wan and do his thing. But I love how this cloak hangs on him. I'm pretty sure that original one did not have that. That was the one thing missing from it. But that was good enough to make me trade out my Black Series Maul. And I'm still kind of salty about it. But now with this, I think this evens the odds, balances the score a little bit. This figure looks great. So much detail, like the flow of the robes. He just looks great. That head sculpt's awesome. You get the actual deal. No one has this many midichlorians, and just great looking head sculpts all around with them. And he's ready for action. Of course, got the cloak. That's always good to see. And he's got the poncho that he's rocking as he's going undercover. And now we've got this. Well, I put my ship up and about to make his deal with Watto. And just a really nice looking figure. I don't have a lot of Figure Arts characters anymore, but these two really look good. These pictures were from Jedi Insider. Check them out for all of your Star Wars news. But looking forward to grabbing those. Lar A says Kids Warehouse also has Black Series vintage collection of Marvel Legends for lower prices. They do, and I'm always trying to catch them to see what I can double up on in terms of getting things. 80s Kid, I'm waiting for Hasbro to announce an updated Maul. You may want to get this one. Matthew says the eel spear gun was half molded as it was his breather tube. That's no good. It looked like someone cut it off. It's Torpedo. So it made a cool photo with Torpedo, but it sucks to not have a complete figure with you. Stay guys, that SH Figure Arts Darth Maul is amazing. It is. Ooh, yes. They might. I don't know how far they're going to get into extended universe stuff with Star Wars, but it's possible. Bad Wolf Prime says that Qui-Gon and Maul set looks incredible. I agree. What do you know? I mean, I'm just saying that set looks really good and definitely on my radar. Now, I don't know how many of you all are like into wrestling, but this news today was really exciting to me. Figure Toys Company has been putting out a bunch of old school characters through the years. And I remember when they got the Ring of Honor license, and I did an interview with them, and I said, this is really exciting news. Are you guys going to get away from using the Ruthless Aggression body mold and do the Mattel style? Because I think a lot of people would be all about getting your line if you did them. And I said, well, more collectors have Ruthless Aggression style figures, which was true at the time. But now clearly more people have elite figures, and they said, so we're going to keep with our style. And they've done tons of legend figures. They've done the first ever Brad Armstrong, and this looks great. And it even comes with his jacket. They've done so many legends that I want Mattel to get around to doing, but licensing being what they are, they can't. So Toys Twitter asked them, any chance you stop using this body mold and use the Toy Biz Marvel Toys bodies? That would have been amazing. And because they're so outdated, it's like, I wish I could use these, but there's just no use for them. But then they said all our figures in the future will be utilizing elite style bodies. The Midnight Express set will be the last set using this format. Now, this Midnight Express set is definitely something I would have wanted because it's got Jim Cornette, it's got Beautiful Bobby, it's got Loverboy Dennis, and Sweet Stan in a full set. And if they had done those guys in that elite style, I would have picked that up so quick and been all over it. So I really wish they had just decided to hold out a little bit longer, get the Midnight Express before they did this, because man, they would have sold so many versions of these by far with no problem. And I'm trying to pull up the Midnight Express set so y'all can see them. But they really I was so like, oh man, this is exactly what I was looking for. And here's the set. It's too expensive, but I probably would have bit and bought them if they were an elite style. I mean, you can get a sense of what we got going here. This is on Cornette's site, so I think it has a little bit more than what you would get if you paid for this all at once. But it's like, oh man, we got Loverboy, we got Beautiful, we've got Sweet, and we've got Cornette. And really cool to get these guys in that elite style packaging, and they could actually blend along with your other Mattel figures, which would have been great, but they didn't. So just missing out there. Jalen says, I opened the boxes. Shooter has officially joined the team. Nice. She needs some backup, though. Right now, she's outnumbered and pinned down by 2 mole rats, and the Hasbro box had 2 Crimson Alley Vipers. Nice. Topher Supreme. I've got Mayfex Superman Hush in my pile of loot at Big Bad Toy Store. Early Christmas present to myself. Yeah, he's a fun figure. And, he's got the Jim Lee head sculpt, but he actually works pretty well with the other Return of Superman figures. So I have him posing up with Steel, and I'm pretty sure I can find that picture real fast. If you don't have that Mayfex Steel one, that's another one that I highly recommend. Such a fun figure, and he did a great job on him. Let's see if you pull up. There we go. Let's see. So yeah, he's a really fun figure, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all having that guy in your collection. The Hush Superman is really fun, and the colors pop brighter than most Superman figures. And I think that's a really cool thing, because most of the time it's kind of more muted blue, but this one is a nice, bold, strong shade of blue. And there you go. And it just looks so nice with even taller John Henry Irons, aka Steel. So really love those two. And I have Cyborg Superman to review and break open as well, so I can't wait. And really looking forward to getting the Eradicator and the Mayfex Superboy completing the reign of the Superman. So can't wait for that. Blake says, I'm loving my classified tripwire right now. He's one on my list to get. I felt like having so many Joes left to open and review that I could not make sense. I could not excuse myself grabbing tripwire and adding more to the G.I. Joe to review pile, but he looks really great. I'm excited looking at everybody's cool pictures of him. Just figured out he has 3, count them, 3 looks out of the package, Hurt Locker. And if you remove his shoulder, neck, and thigh guards, it's the 3.75 inch. Exactly. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't realize. I thought that they set him up where he could only have that sort of modernized version of his original look. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that. If you don't mind sending me a picture, because that's really cool. Tover Supreme, he's a great figure, and I have version 1. You got version 3. Yeah, that's right. They have released that figure 2 times. I think I got him on the first version, right when they did the Hush Batman. I was like, oh, now you're talking. And that's what sucked me into getting those Mayfex DC figures, because it's like, oh, this is what y'all are doing. bring all of them out. Let's get a Justice League focus series. Let's do it. Shoot, do a Legion. I'll be all over as many of those figures that Mayfex wants to put out. Dr. Vender says, do you think now that they've done Chasm and Hallows Eve is on the way, we might get a King Chasm and a Goblin Queen now? Yeah, Goblin Queen. I don't know. Maybe I feel like she's gonna have some presence in X-Men 97, so I assume we'll see her through that means. I couldn't imagine why they wouldn't do King Chasm, because I feel like any and every Spider-Man character is fully valid and reasonable to expect at this point from Hasbro, because they don't mind holding a whole wave with Spider-Man and all of his random characters, different variations of his outfits, alternate Spider-Verse characters, and different, oh, this look appeared for 4 issues. Let's make a figure of it anyway because it looks cool. So I think everything's on the table for the Spider-Man line. 80 says, I might ask for Steel Core for Christmas. They look totally rad. I'm hearing different thoughts on those, but I think some people have reported they love them. Others are like, they're a little too small. So check them out. Firefly looks awesome too. I definitely recommend Firefly. 80 skip from the 90s says, Matthew, the Steel Core is best part of the jetpacks, but you have to use other effects because the smoke is on the working end of the Hasbro. I think that's what you're saying. Hey, thanks, Jalen. Those were so fun to shoot. And I can't wait to do, the recovery suit Superman and Steel versus Cyborg Superman. And of course, having Cyborg Superman start ambushing the rest of the Superman. That's going to be fun. James, Jeffrey the Power Town say anything about any new figures that are coming out. They are still really quiet on the, hey, here's what's new with us front. And I don't know what happened, because it felt like they were rolling really well, and then it just became this thing like, well, who knows? Right now, I think they still have some more versions of, or more copies of. No, it looks like they're actually all sold out. I was doing a quick check because, they had been talking about, hey, you can still get these figures again. I don't know, the bundle, now it's sold out. And yeah, they have Remco figures that are supposed to be coming, but really nothing else on the horizon, which is not great because it's been like a whole year, I feel like, since we heard the news of this original lineup. And then instead of doing another round of 6 classic legends from the AWA, NWA, World Class, All Japan, you name it, the next figures were Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, who had plenty of figures, all kinds of different lines. So I don't know. I love to see some more figures, but I'm not as optimistic as I was, like in January, February. Matthew says Tripwire is a great figure. With a valid green shirt, you get 2 amazing figures. Well, shoot, now with all these figures showing up at Ollie's and Ross, you could take a Stalker and outfit him with some of this and still have your different original figures in there too. Topher Supreme says that Steel fig looks good too. I was a good boy this year. Maybe Santa will bring me one. Now, I had zero patience with some Mayfex figures, and I really, really tried to wait with some of them. My patience is not as great on some others, but right now, if you want to get some for a really reasonable, really good price, you hit up Amazon, another of my affiliates, and they have Huntress for $78. Not a bad price. Harley Quinn's $84. Catwoman, she's a little bit too much at $102, but she's a really good figure. I definitely recommend her. Maybe try some of these other offers to get her cheaper. I'm sure Poison Ivy's not going to stay at $119. Joker, he's okay. I mean, he looks like he did in the comic, but not my favorite look for him. This version of the stealth jumper is $87. The Magneto, $78. Not a bad, actually $77 exactly. So a good price there. So there are lots of good figures, but this Steel that I was trying to find, $77. That is a really great price for that figure. I can't recommend him enough for that price. And the Cyborg Superman, the one that I was waiting to drop down, has now gone up to 127. Fortunately, I bought him from another retailer. I have to track down because I definitely want to make sure you guys can get him for that cheaper price. But yeah, he's gotten too expensive. And the Nightwing, 96 bucks or 89 from other sellers. Lots of great options from Amazon in terms of these figures. So definitely take advantage, take a look there, especially for some of these figures you might have missed out on earlier because they will drop them down. Matthew, wrong end. The orange should come out of the jet and smoke at the far end. Classified, reverse it. Well, that's not good. That's really it's an odd mix up for the classified series team. For some of the other teams, I kind of like, well, what are you going to do? But odd that the classified team messed that up. You be playing. Hey, Jeffrey, glad to see you're doing better, my dude. Thank you so much. My Grail all-time favorite Joe vehicle was the Warthog. Nothing too crazy, so hopefully classified will get around to it. I feel like it will. Jamelin, a Mayfix Hal Jordan with a cast construct would be cool. While they're at it, might as well do Mongo for the Coast City Showdown. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they can sneak him in really easily, and because they're not afraid to do alternate head sculpts, maybe we have one neutral with his brown hair, no grading temples. That way, not that I have anything against grading temples, but we can get an old school classic Hal Jordan, and of course, I feel like they throw in the cast, no problem. And then however many other constructs they want to do, but he's essential to that storyline because that takes Hal Jordan on this whole different path. So we should get him. Hopefully, Mongo, because I'm with you. We need him for that. The storyline is not complete in figure form without it. We need Matrix Supergirl too. So if we can get those 3 additional characters, then I wouldn't feel so bad about begging for Alexander Luthor with his big cuff of red hair. I feel like we can get those 4 figures without being too ridiculous. I would buy all 4 of them. I don't know if you guys would too. Just in the tripwire image, notice how he has the red insignia on his shoulder guard, and when you remove it, it's on the same shoulder underneath, so you can remove. That is cool. And Matthew also sent photos via Instagram, so let's go on in live time. There we go. Let's go to the messages, pull them up real fast, see if I can track these down. That's awesome. Let's see if I can. That's great work there. Not so great with me showing you guys on the camera, but hopefully you get the effect. That's really cool. So you did manage to make it out okay. All right, cool. Now here are your versions of Tripwire. Gosh, there are lots of options you can do with him. That's cool. My camera work, again, not so good. But that's really nice to see you can do all these different options with these guys. And then pull up Blake's version. I love, this is exciting. There we go. That's cool. I'm so going to do that because I loved all the changes, but got to stick classic, because that's what the classified series lets me do. So very good to know that. Thank you guys for showing me the photos. Is Black Noir on sale? Let's see if he was on sale. What was there? 75 bucks for Black Noir. There you go. There you go. So 75. He's got a severed head with him and a bunny. So you got everything you could possibly need with the Black Noir from Mayfix. Felipe Gomez, what's going on? First of all, glad to see you're doing good. And the Grail is a 7-foot Venator destroyer I built. Oh, I need to see pictures of that too. James wants to know what other vehicles do I think the Geometry Classified team would make and put on Pulse to sell. Boy, that is a really good question. Let's see. There's so much that they could do. I mean, we've gone from a really small scale vehicle in the Trouble Bubble to a full-on Jeep with a vamp. So I think anything, between those two, wide open. They've already announced the Ferret's coming, so that's something. But I kind of feel like they could sell this stuff at retail. We know Target's getting the Python Patrol, Trouble Bubble, and Televiper. So I think they can start moving some of this product from Pulse to retail. That's even better for them. But to answer your question, the Ferret, the Devilfish, for sure. I think a Stinger, the Vamp Mark II, clearly options that'll work for other vehicles they could sell on Pulse. Armadillo is another one. They've already mentioned the MMS, the jetpack launch system, the jump. I think the flak laser cannon, they could do that too. I mean, there's a ton of small scale vehicles they could do, but the Vamp, I think, kind of changes things where it's like, well, shoot, Awe Striker absolutely has to be on the table now. There's a lot of really cool Joe vehicles, and some that maybe weren't an option before, I think are all on the table now. And maybe the Warthog is something that could be done. Maybe it has to be a HasLab, but I think the sky is the limit for these mid-size, not necessarily hydrofoil Murray style vehicles, but I think there's a lot of vehicles on that mid scale that they can work in with no problem. CH, I made it. Good evening. Welcome. Glad to see you. Legacy Lions, BK, Jeff, thank you as always for the deal updates. Happy to pass it on to you all. You can't find Ripper on Big Bad Toy Store? You know, I think I looked earlier and I did not see him there either. Maybe they're trying to find their stock Ripper figures. Oh, he's right here. Just search Ripper in the search engine and here he goes. Maybe you just had it for in-stock stuff, but he's still apparently coming in December, which basically means anytime next week. So, yeah, I'm sure he'll be there very soon. All about the villains. Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? Did you see a Mayfex Terminator? You might have. Blake says, James, if you ask me, classify, I can do every small and medium-sized vehicle. It's a big library. Yeah, it's... I was looking for earlier Joe vehicles that are possible, but that was just me kind of speculating. Now that we've gotten the Trouble Bubble and the Vamp, I feel like there's probably a safe 50 vehicles they can do with no problem. And the Wolverine's another one I think they could do easily now with the Avenue of Pulse. The Bridge Layer is another one that they could do really easily. The Silver Mirage, that's one that they could put out on retail. So there's a ton of stuff. And I think as they start going more into vehicles, because they are really rolling quickly through with the figures, I think that's where we're going to see the slight pivot, because I'm sure they could just go back and go, hey, we're doing retros of all these figures that we did a modernized version of, and guys like me are going to go pick them up. So I think they have a ton of vehicles they can do, and I think these vehicles are sneakily going to be the way they can keep this line going, because there's so many to do and so many vehicle drivers that this line has so many legs and wheels under it for so many more months and years to come. Robert, I'm at the point I can't do 112 vehicles. I barely have space for many of my 118 Joe's vehicles. I hear you. Cobra Snake. Yeah, that's definitely got to be on there too. Devin Benart says Star Wars speeder bike finally went down to $20 from the $45. I can buy at that price since vintage figures are $16. That, yeah, it's rough when you look at these vintage figures. It's like the price point difference between them is not great. I feel like it's kind of like, I can't quite justify it. I see them and I'm like, this isn't great. And I see what you're talking about. You were not referring to the Black Series. I got 3 of those back when they were much cheaper and not 149 or 120 or 117. But the Vintage Collection version is now $19.99, down from that original $45 price point, which is absurd. I mean, it's just, I feel like I paid less than $45 for the speeder bikes on the Black Series, which is the whole issue I'm having. But anyway, I'm gonna get to the Grails in just a second. Ryan says Lenny strongly suggested they'll make a Dreadnought Thunder Machine for retail or Pulse. So anything smaller than a tank has a good chance. I'm with you. And I think we'll see those things for sure. E-Templar Hunter, I'm more looking for the mini battle station playsets to be released on 112 scale. Biovac, Checkpoint Alpha, etc. Exactly. Those would really help tell the story. And you know the Classified Series team is really into like, hey, what can you guys do with these sets? And those would really help build those stories out a little bit more too. Keith says the key to Vintage Collection is the play sets and vehicles. That's why I'm still into the line. Yes. All right, so now I have talked about so many other things. Let's get into what the question of the night was. What's your Holy Grail vehicle? And just to reiterate, Holy Grail in this case totally means space is not a limit. Just imagine you get a new house with a whole massive figure room, wing, whatever you need. It's yours. You don't even have to pay for this Holy Grail vehicle. It's coming to you. What would that be? Let's see what some of you guys said way back in the early portion of the chat, and then I'll go back to what you guys have said lately. 80s Kid says, my Holy Grail is the recently revealed vamp from the Classified series. I can't wait for it to release. That is an awesome choice. I'm so happy it's coming too. Battle of Prime says, I love a Black Series tie advance, but the Hail Mary would be an AT-AT. Oh, yes. So let me go through my quick list, and I really tried hard to just stick to one for the different lines I get. So for me, G.I. Joe, you guys know it's the killer whale. I would so love that. And I'm sure that's going to be more of a HasLab option if possible. But that's what I want for G.I. Joe. I don't need the Terradrome. I feel like that's something they could probably whip up with some panel rearrangements and make the Firebat a separate thing if they wanted to do more like of a model set version of the Terradrome, which I think they could do. Just like have the walls with little clips, and you could buy each one as you needed or wanted to make your Terradrome as massive and as big as you possibly could want it. For Black Series, clearly it's got to be the Millennium Falcon. If it's the ultimate Black Series vehicle, it's got to be that. But the AT-AT was definitely number 2 for me. But having the Millennium Falcon has to be number 1 for me. For Marvel Legends, I said the Avengers Quinjet because I think they could easily do a fantastic car. I think that's possible. And for Quinjet, they actually ride it enough that it would be worth it having it. Not necessarily, I've got to get it, but it'd be cool. And for Mcfarlane, I want the Blue Beetle Bug, and not for the reasons you probably think. I want it for my classic old school JLI team when their mode of transportation was the Bug. So I feel like he'd try to do something like that, and I would buy it. So those are mine. Let's see what else you guys said. Ski Raider said classified Shark 2-seater full works. Also the classified Whale, Dreadnought Thunder Machine classified, Cobra Hydrofoil classified, and classified Tomahawk Eaglehawk. Anything else is lovely. I feel like you're gonna be fine with the Thunder Machine because that seems like it's on the works. It's coming. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't do a Shark. That's an easy. I mean, with all the detail that they put into the vamp, I can't see them not doing a Shark now. I'm really curious how they do Deep Six's costume, though. I think that would be more of a question. Will they make his scuba gear set totally immobile like the original figure, or would it have some articulation, or they just go with a totally different style form? All right, let's see. Classified Tank, the Mobat. That's why I wore this shirt, to see if anybody was going to mention it. But, you know, it's odd because this one has the tank in blue, which is, I always thought was kind of weird. But, yeah. This is the Mobat. But they have different tanks. So that might be what you're talking about. Let's see. What else did everybody else say on their Holy Grail sets? All right, tell you what. You guys tell me back in the chat, since there's so many comments. Not going to complain about that. Post if you've already posted in there what your Holy Grail is, so I don't scan through. Okay, here we go. Juan Sanchez says, Super Far Out Impossible Dream, a high-end true 112 scale X-Men Blackbird. I'm definitely in the minority, but I'm down to pay like $800 for something like that. I've seen a really good 3D printed version of the Blackbird with room for all the X-Men to sit down in, and even had a little bay to have Sabretooth in prison, basically. That would look really cool. And I don't think that would be $800. So maybe it's not going to be $200, but maybe it wouldn't have to be that much. Jay says, for my Holy Grail vehicle, fantastic car. I could really use it with a Galactus and a diorama. That would be cool. I really feel like that's something that is possible that they would try to do, because that should be too impossible for them to engineer. Doc Avenger says Holy Grail vehicle, Nick Fury in his flying car. Nice. Or Agent Coulson or Lola, his flying car. Those would be fun. I miss Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was a fun show. Especially when they got over we gotta get Daisy over, and they just focused on telling good stories with all the characters. All right, let's see. What else did you all have for your Holy Grail vehicles? Now you be playing. I think the Warthog is definitely something they could do, and I'm trying to think how impossible that would be in terms of, hey, would this work on? Would this work as something they'd have to do as a HasLab, or is it something they could get away with doing on, just a regular version on Pulse? Because I feel like it's not too big and not too massive. But let's see here. Let's pull it up. Looking at 3djoes.com. I think the Warthog is basically vamp size, maybe a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. I guess if they wanted to go, this is the same height scale as the Hiss, they go that route. But I really feel like that's something that's totally viable the way they've been doing this stuff now. Felipe says the 7-foot Venator Destroyer. So that would be cool. All About the Villain says, my Holy Grail is Titanus from Power Rangers. I had to check that out because I'm not as well versed in Power Rangers as I am some other lines. Lar A says, Grail set. I recall a YouTube channel made add-ons to mass Boulder Hill that fit under the 80 set for the underground shuttle to his mansion, and also had the round table and hangers to recharge mass. That sounds amazing. Yeah, mass would be like a Holy Grail figure line to do it in like a 6-inch scale where you could do all the transformations of the vehicles and have that set, because my brother and I had Boulder Hill too. That was a really fun play set. I love mass. Let us see them come all the way back. But yeah, that would be cool. Jamlin says some Grail vehicles for me is still probably the USS Flag. The Defiant is cool, but I do have the Crusader. Being more realistic, Starcom and mass vehicles. Hey man, we don't need to be realistic here. We're just having fun. But yeah, the Flag would be awesome. And I think for all of us who didn't get the Flag as kids, yeah, that would be an awesome vehicle. I was looking at my my tunnel rat here, like, yeah, I mean, how big and how wide would that flag need to be for a classified series? Whatever. That's what basements are for, right? Let's see. What is everybody else saying here? Key says classified Defiant launch complex. That would be cool. Snake Eyes, my Holy Grail would be the Thunder Tank. Did you get it? Ryan says Grail vehicles of Black Series Imperial Star Destroyer. This is what I'm talking about, Ryan. Just go all the way for the moon. Imperial Star Destroyer. That'd be cool. It'd be the size of a 19th century New England schoolhouse. It would be so cool, right? Like that would be a really fun one to have. G. Bruce says, I have 2 Holy Grails. 112 scale Ecto 1 with working lights and sirens with a completely screen accurate to the 84 interior and exterior. And second, an X-Wing jet big enough to fit at least 6 X-Men. Yeah, I feel like if your Blackbird does not have space for a full team of X-Men, it's not good enough. I mean, if it fits 1 or 3, no, you got to be able to fit the whole team in there, and maybe even 14. But that's an old school joke. Jamlin says, "Oh, I was thinking more vintage Grails. Yeah, the Falcon for sure. It would be huge though for classified. For classified, the Mauler, and yes, the Whale. Yeah, the Falcon. I mean, all right, let's see. This is like basic scale of a 6-inch figure here. Yeah, I mean the cockpit alone for the Millennium Falcon would need to be like this wide. So I don't care about the size on it. That would be a wall suspending. Maybe I'd put some blades on it and just make that my fan in my figure room. That way everybody's happy and people are like, wait, is there? And I'm like, no, it's just a fan. But I think that will work. Blake says Mcfarlane 7-inch scale invisible jet for this upcoming Wonder Woman. Yes, that would be something, dude. I'm down for that too. It's me Snob, Star Wars Black Series B-Wing, V-Wing, U-Wing, and Rancor. Yo, those the Rebellion had some really cool fighter ships, and those would be really fun to add to the collection as well. I'm wondering, this is why I'm kind of mad that the Black Series team just retreated from HasLabs, because I feel like there's such a market, just like the vintage collectors, to do vehicles that make sense. I mean, why do we not have a Black Series X-Wing? That could be a really easy HasLab. Just throw in a different, like, battle damage R2 from Star Wars as a tier, and your X-Wing, maybe a new redesigned version of Pilot Luke. Maybe do a wedge. I just feel like there is such an obvious demand for that. Then the Cloud City cars, the twin cars, they're smaller vehicles that will work. I know Millennium Falcon's not coming, just like I know when Hot Toys showed off that cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, it's probably not going to happen. But if it ever did, I would buy it. But yeah, I mean, the X-Wing is possible. And I feel like the B-Wing, the V-Wing, maybe a Count Dooku ship or something that they could do and pull off pretty easily. Matthew says, I want a 112 Equalizer, my favorite G.I. Joe tank. Man, okay, let me see here. Try to remember that one. Okay, let's see. Oh, Slaughter Marauder deal. Let me make sure if I'm with you on this one. This is what you're talking about, Matthew. It's a pretty cool looking tank there. See, G.I. Joe had so many cool vehicles. I mean, there's so much. The exciting thing is it really feels like the Classified Series team is going to make a whole bunch of these happen. So get your shelf space ready. CH, Night Raven. The Night Raven would be a very exceptional choice for vehicles as well. Keith Feinstein, what's a classified Defiant launch complex? Yeah, I guess you got to have the full thing if you're going to do the Defiant, but that would be a really, I mean, that would be cool. I'm almost like, would the team try to do something like that? Would it be too crazy and too ridiculous? Probably. But I almost feel like the Joe team would try, and I almost feel like there would be enough support to get that thing done for the fans. And I think there might literally be enough interest if the price isn't outrageous to support it. And yeah, I mean, just it's a fun looking thing. That was definitely one of those. I didn't get the whale. I didn't get the aircraft carrier. I don't care about this, but I almost feel like this is not something out of the realm of possibility if they can make the Defiant a little bit smaller. And I feel like we would sacrifice the size of the Defiant if we could get this full space station, which would make for a really cool vehicle. Certainly a holy grail. Or the whale. That's another vote for the whale. I think you all agree that we need a Classified Series whale. JC the Grind, Night Raven. It was the coolest vehicle in G.I. Joe. It's got to happen. I feel like it does, and I feel like it's just a matter of how far they can get away with making that extended size, because you got to figure the Sky Striker, the Rattler are on their radar. They're trying to figure out how can we make this affordable and pack in all the details we really want in it. The Night Raven had that little drone that made it even cooler. So I'm trying to figure out how they'll do it, but I feel like they really want to make those happen. Or the Defiant for Classified. It's interesting how many Holy Grail vehicles are from Classified series. The one line I think that's actually going to try to make a good effort to knock out several of these on our wish list. Afterchild says my Holy Grail would be Helicarrier and Quinjet for Marvel Legends and for 6-inch. Not bad. I'd be curious to see how they could do a helicarrier. I think that could be something that would work because it just needs to be a platform. Maybe they throw a Quinjet on there, but yeah, I think that could work. I feel like people would see value in that as opposed to some other things. Steven Komarek, I hope I said your last name properly. Whale would be my Holy Grail. The Warthog would be my realistic one. I don't know. I feel like if they continue to price things accordingly, we're seeing that with the deluxe figures where it's like, okay, this has a little bit more than some of the others. And then they have their regular price figures. And then they do the vehicles. They don't try to make $1 million off that trouble bubble. The Vamp came in under some of our expectations. I think people were like, well, if it's 120, if it's 150 would probably be my breaking point. But if it's under 100, I'm good. I'll buy multiples. And I feel like that strategy has worked really well for them. I think the warthog is a very realistic one, but I also feel like the whale doesn't necessarily have to be an outlandish, never going to happen thing, because I definitely feel like there's an option for them to just kind of stack onto it, kind of like the hiss, and build it maybe a little bit wider. So if it's say 350 or maybe even 399, I think there's enough interest that people buy it. I mean, what was Galactus? I'm trying to remember what the price was for him way back in the day. Let's see if I can do some really quick basic investigation and just remember past projects. Let's go real fast. Let's see. What was the signal while I'm here? Oh, darn it. I really wish they'd just had the prices for these things back in the day. Let's see. We're going to not know the price of Galactus was. Okay, so that didn't work. That didn't help. But maybe if you guys remember, tell me how much we paid for Galactus and what some of y'all paid for the Sentinel. Roberts, I never got the Legacy Collection Falcon. I love to get it, but not willing to pay aftermarket prices. Yeah, because I feel like sometimes the aftermarket is just like, oh, cool, I've got you. And you're going to pay a whole lot for this stuff. And not really, because I really can't stand to part with it. Intimate Snob, Classified, Desert Fox, and Rage Tank. Those are fun. Let's see here. Doc Avenger, let Ertl do G.I. Joe 112 scale model kit so we can build and detail how you see fit. There's an idea. Or maybe Super 7. There's lots of ways they can go with that. Eric Thurman, Destro's the spoiler. Oh man, I feel like now that they're gone so deep into the fullness of the Iron Grenadiers, we're gonna see that the spoiler real soon. And that's gonna be a fun addition to the whole squad. And you know they're gonna deliver on that. I mean, that is basically Serpentor's chariot. And I mean, I feel like a lot of that they could use as the shell for it, but you know they're going to do the spoiler, and maybe they'll do Destro with it, and we'll pay pretty much what we did for Serpentor. I don't feel like that is another thing that's too outrageous for them to pull out there. And I mean, the way they've been putting out stuff. Okay, there it goes. Trying to figure out if he was not there. Of course, when they have sold out, we won't even find out how much the price was back in the day. That's unfortunate because I don't remember feeling like Serpentor was too outrageous, but I think a lot of this you could kind of see where they would go with the whole idea of the despoiler. Yeesh, that didn't work. Let's try it this way. There we go, a little bit bigger. So, I mean, there's a lot of similarities in terms of the size and space of this. I mean, we look at it, it's got the wings, it's got the missiles, it's got a little cockpit seat for Destro, and I feel like that's about the same size as this. So we could do that. And I think they would with no problem because they're all about giving us this stuff. So I think Eric, you can be almost 100% sure, or even 110% sure, we're going to see that sooner rather than later. E Templar Hunter says, it's not a vehicle per se, but why not a HasLab G.I. Joe headquarters? Listen, that would be fun. And I feel like that should be on the table too. And I would absolutely buy it. And I feel like that's a good use for a HasLab because that way they can really go into detail, make that prison set even more detailed. Have, now we've got the vamp, we've got a space now. So the original G.I. Joe headquarters had that slot where the vamp could move up so Clutch could aim his lasers or his machine guns, not lasers, in there. And oh, not you. Now, let me make sure I understand E Templar. Are you talking about this version of the headquarters, the 92 one, this super one, which is basically a sized up version of the original one, or the super? Well, that would have helped if I had shown the picture. There we go. Let's try that one more time. This version, which is huge and massive, but again, a basic redo of the original one, or this one. Now, this is one of my earliest G.I. Joe vehicles, and I love this thing, or headquarters, so much. And we got the space here for the Mobat. We've got the vamp section there. I mean, this thing would be great to have. We've got the helipad for our soon to arrive Dragonfly too. So I don't know. I almost feel like they've been doing some parts to set this up. And does it need to be a HasLab? Maybe it's just something where they could just feel like, yeah, let's see if we can sell it. I mean, they've done stuff like this on Pulse, and it's a lot of sections, but this is really the main piece of the headquarters when you look at it. I mean, we got a spot here for the Vamp. That's done. We got a helipad for the Dragonflies. We got two vehicles that are part of this headquarters section. Maybe we don't get the Mobat just yet. Maybe that's a HasLab. That's got to be a HasLab. But this is the main section of headquarters. We've got our little staging area, our prison section. I don't know. I feel like that might not be something that they have to do a HasLab on, but we'll see. I think maybe that's on their radar too. Or Terradrome. Yeah. James Green says mine would be a 112 scale Black Star Warlock. I love that cartoon classic. Nice. 87 to 90 says the 6-year-old inside me is always excited when I get a classified series figure. That's the same for me. Dark Knight 297. A Jetto classified tank with Steeler figure like I had in 82, and the Wolverine tank for CoverGirl. Dark Knight, they have to do both of those. I mean, there could be no way around it. We got to get both of those. Those are essential vehicles for G.I. Joe, and yeah, we need it. Blake, you with me? 5 foot tall Black Series AT-AT, right? You know, to watch the Millennium Falcon fly away as it escapes Hoth. But yeah, and how many AT-ATs would you need? I feel like 3 that view when they look out in the distance, like, oh my gosh, what's causing all that shaking in the ground? I need that. And I think that would be really awesome to get in the classified, the Black Series line. Jayla says, into me, Snob has some great taste. I love the B-Wing. The B-Wing is such a fun looking vehicle too. The X-Wing gets all the love, but the B-Wing was a really cool looking setup. And let's pull this up here. Let's see. Let's go with this shot from StarWars.com just to show how cool this sucker actually looks. For those of you who may not remember it, but yeah, I mean, that is a cool looking thing. And I feel like so much of that is just the frame, the shell of the vehicle. This is your smaller area where your guy is sitting anyway. So maybe that could work. G. Bruce says, I'd also take an Ecto 1A with all 4 Ghostbusters and their Ghostbusters 2 gear with 4 proton packs and 2 slime packs. Oh, slime packs. All the lights and sounds. And maybe it comes with a bucket of pink slime. It's slimy. Ryan says, if next year's Joe HasLab is a Cobra Rattler, that might be the last big vehicle I get. As great as the Whale is, I think it's impractical at the classified scale. Now, would you be okay with it if they kind of compromise some of the size and tone down how big and massive it was? Because I could be okay with them sizing it down a little and, you know, maybe having that space for 1 or 2 Joes in the cockpit or in the lower section, and maybe having that bike on the back and just having this. Let me pull this up because I feel like I'm talking too much about what I could compromise with versus what would make sense for it. So let's do this. Okay, so let's pull it up. Here's a hovercraft. Oh, no. Let's see. Not the version I was trying to go for. That always happened. There we go. All right, so here's the killer wheel. And let's see how impractical or practical this could be. So there's the gunner spots, which we can make smaller or just make them so 2 guys fit in there. I think a lot of the size on the whale comes from this bottom section here. So if you took that size down and you just factor in this small section, and I'm like touching the screen so you guys, of course, can't see. You just focus on this narrow section right here and make that, the whole basis for it. Get your cannons. And if you just trim this down, I think that could be where it would work. And like, clearly we don't need to have like 8 Joes down here, but I feel like they could make that work if they trim this down, because I think that's what's giving the whale so much of its size. And you don't have to have that, because I don't think anybody here is intending to put their whale into the bathtub or to the ocean or to the lake down the street or the creek down in their backyard. So I don't think they have to worry about making it floatable like the old school version. So maybe they could make it work without it. The Equalizer is great. I have my childhood one complete. Steven says, wow, I don't recall ever seeing that Equalizer. That is awesome. My new Holy Grail. Jibru, a 112 scale USS Defiant bridge from Star Trek Deep Space Nine would be awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that would be fun. Keith Feinstein says Black Series partial vehicles and dioramas would be where it's at. Cantina, Star Destroyer, bridge. Yeah, that'd be cool. Falcon cockpit, Falcon rec room, X-wing cockpit, etc. I feel like we get the X-wing, but I like your idea for these diorama parts for like the cantina and the Star Destroyer bridge. I think I'd be satisfied. You could set up your whole display or a shelf display with that, but your Star Destroyer bridge would need to have that window so it could look out at the ships in the distance. That'd be really cool. Ryan says a classified Defiant complex would be the size of a Toyota Highlander. Steak Juice just got here. What's the largest vehicle that's been talked about so far? The Flag. But I'm sure you figured that out. Also talked about the Millennium Falcon, so some big things. Lexington T. Lions BK, I would love to own a G.I. Joe Rolling Thunder again. The Rolling Thunder. That's another wild size vehicle. Those are ones that I just read in the comic book. I didn't buy them, but yeah, that would be a really cool vehicle to see in this thing too. And now I know Ryan's gonna be like, that is highly improbable. And he's probably right. That's gonna be one that's not gonna work for them, but I wonder how feasible some of this stuff is as they break it down in different compartments where it's like, okay, let's focus on this first half and the second. And will we be interested in build the vehicles from the G.I. Joe line? Like, they take this section here and make that like, or just the under canopy. And then we get another piece for like, $50, $70 with just the big cannons on the side. This compartment here, this little rolling derby, and then this back cockpit or back gun section. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's a way they could do some of this stuff. But again, shelf space does become a premium on this. Laura, another channel made a bunk bed for his kid looking like Castle Grayskull. That's cool. Talk about in scale and functional. Imagine being a kid, staying in bed and playing with Motu and Grayskull rooms on air walls. And of course, they're going to be like, I don't like this. I'm more of a Silverhawks fan, Dad. Documentary. I was going to buy this for my son, and I don't have a son yet, so I didn't buy it. Man, I sure wish I had the carrier. I am with you. Keith Feinstein, Defiant. Just do 2 of the 3 components. The crawler, launcher section, and the shuttle itself. I think that would work. Oops. Darth Maul with Tatooine Sith-Speeder. That is definitely back in the day, that would have been retail. But I think that could be an easy pulse. I don't know. They're still doing vehicles, right? I think that's something they could put out there on retail, especially with Darth Maul. He's so popular that it would sell. Mickey Rowe, my Holy Grail would be an X-Men Jet Blackbird. My Holy Grail playset would be an X-Mansion Danger Room. That would be awesome. I'd love to see them start doing more playsets. Those would be really fun. I mean, I feel like that was something that as kids we enjoyed, and I don't feel like they think that we would still love that if we were done in the same attention, scale, and detail that these figures are. Jamelin, I think a whale at about Super 7's Thunder tank size for 400 or less is practical. It would be very well received. I think so too. I think for sure people would be like, yes, how fast can I sign up for it? Intimate Snob, I really wish they do a regular release hiss. Doesn't have to have all the bells and whistles, just needs the treads to still be functional. I feel like one of you all, maybe it was Ryan, who said that the functional treads are expensive, and that's something that sneakily adds cost to these vehicles. So that might not be practical, but I think they could do the setup where you see the treads and you just have the wheels underneath, so you have that illusion of functional treads, but they're not actually moving or doing anything. Felipe just sent some pictures of the Venator. Nice. Let's see. how fast I can get to it. Perfect. Great. Let's accept. There we go. Oh my goodness, that's wild. All right, let's see here. Can you all see that? There we go. That's crazy. Look at that. It's amazing. That's really cool. And here's a nice, let's do this so I can move this out so y'all can actually see it. And I can tilt the screen so y'all can fully appreciate it. Still can't. But anyway, here is the Venator. That looks really cool. Nice job, Felipe. $399.99. The Galactus was $399. Yeah, so I feel like under 400. So I think that the whale would work for 400. I think people would be like, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And they haven't gone too outrageous in terms of pricing. That I think a whale for under 400, if it was like 425, I think people would be like, yeah, the value's there, especially with the vamp. I think they earn more goodwill from that. And with all the stuff they packed into the Dragonfly with the base offering on that, I feel like the fans are like, yeah, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We'll back it. We'll support it. I don't feel like a lot of people are waiting on the vamp to go on sale. They're just like, great, this is the price point. And I think that's important when you support these things where it's like, this is a reasonable price point. I want to support so you guys do more of them. And it's not a situation like some other toy lines where you support something, they burn you anyway. I think they're showing a lot of good faith, and I'm not upset with them. All right. Thanks, guys. I didn't realize I was that far behind. 79 for Serpentor. That's crazy. Felix, under 400. I had that 92 version. Which one, Ryan? Steven, not necessarily Holy Grail, but I would like to see the amphibious personal carrier. Yes. I like the ability to carry a lot of troops. They could even do a repaint of Cobra colors. That I still have that. I was about to say, I had that. No, that's literally still in my G.I. Joe display right now. And it does not fit for the 25th anniversary style figures, but I loved it. And I packed that sucker full. Did you put your Joes seated, and then you had a bunch of them standing? That thing was packed when I was rolling out on Joe missions. Jamelin, I would love modular stations that could interlock to build the Joe headquarters. What do you guys think of something like that? I think that will work. Like I said, I think that will work for the Terradrome, and I really think that will work for the G.I. Joe headquarters. I think they could keep building it out, maybe charge $150. I think that's the go home price for Pulse non-HasLab offerings. Maybe $175 for just that main section with the prison cell, maybe a little wider staging area where the Joes can have like a monitor, plan out their missions, have the pictures of the original lineup of Joes. That'd be fun, like a callback to the comic book, and make that your base offering, and then keep adding on. So we don't have a MOBAT. We won't do that style or that wall just yet, but we'll do one with the helipad for the Dragonfly, maybe time it right around the Dragonfly's release. We have the section for the vamp. We could do that. So, and then they could also just set up different components for different areas where maybe you have your G.I. Joe training section that would make for really cool. I don't know. I love that idea. And I think that would be something that maybe the team would consider. And I think that would be a really cool way to do the G.I. Joe headquarters. G. Brew, my Holy Grail playset would be Egon's laboratory from Ghostbusters. You only see it briefly in the first film, so they should go with real Ghostbusters or EGB's lab. Lar, hey, I'm surprised nobody said a 112 scale Voltron force with Lion's inability to combine and form Voltron. Yeah, you got to do that, right? Blake says, okay, well, then if you're going to have 3 AT-ATs, then you also need 4 snow speeders, plus that first appearance at ATST that was in the background of Empire. This is true. I have 1 snow speeder, but I really love that thing. I think it was a great vehicle, and definitely one of those is like, if I had thought about it more, I would have gotten more when they were still in stock. After, what about a Black Series Star Destroyer? Make it happen. Let's do it. Keith, the Y-Wing is my favorite. Love the OT one and the Clone Wars Era Wars. Clone Wars era is awesome too. Yes, let's pull that up because I feel like that's another one that'd be worth pulling up for everybody just to see, because it was a cool looking vehicle and definitely a fun addition to that setup. Not the Resistance, this one. So yeah, I mean that is a cool looking setup. And again, that's another one that's kind of small and narrow in terms of what you need to pack a lot of detail in. I think they could shortchange some of the sides or the stem parts where they don't have to make it so big and so wide. They can kind of fudge that. But that's a cool vehicle, and I think that'd be a really fun one to add into the lineup too. Ryan, yeah, I would totally accept a smaller Seaborn craft for the jokes, especially because I love me some Cutter. Cutter was awesome. Did you read the comic? Because I really loved how they wrote him and Deep Six in there, and I think that's part of my love for those characters and want to see them in the classified series line. And then, oh, Spirit's on making his way up to the top. Go for it. Fun stuff in cartoon. Eric Thurman, make it modular. That would be sweet. It would be almost too sweet. Let's see. Steven says they could put a real inflatable tube around it to keep it smaller. Listen, whatever it takes, just like the Avenger said. Steak Juice. If Marvel Universe was still around, we probably would have had an X-Men Blackbird as a HasLab by now. Yeah, that it was one of those things where the quality of those figures got so bad I just could not support it. But they would have done really good work with a Blackbird, a Quinjet. They could have expanded into vehicles. It wasn't like the Star Wars team wasn't already doing stuff like that, where they could have just borrowed some ideas and, hey, how does this engineering work for 3.75 inch figures? They could have done that. And I really agree with you, Steak Juice. They missed the opportunity there. And to be snob, the whale was already out of scale, even at the 3.75 scale. Damn it. I would take way more bass if I had a new whale. Yes, we definitely need the new Rattler with Wild Weasel, all about the villains for sure. Jay Twiggle, please tell me I did not butcher your name. The next HasLab needs to be Cobra Rattler with Wild Weasel. Yeah, I mean, we're all about it. And I'd be down because Wild Weasel was another cool character in the comic book. But I think they did right by him in the cartoon as well. Modular components. Yes, sir. Ryan says if there's any chance for the Rolling Thunder, they'll try to make it happen. Linnea said it's his dream project. Oh, ho! So now it's back on the menu then. So maybe that would happen. And I feel like Lenny's the kind of guy, the creative on this brand, that he would try to work really hard to make this happen. So if that's his dream project, then I think we can open up our imaginations even wider to maybe this could happen. Renegade Biker 24. Hey there, Jeff and chat. I already have the Cobra Terradrome. So one of my girls would be the Defiant and the Flag. Cannot be upset with that. Jay says Rolling Thunder would be massive as a classified vehicle. It would. Snake Eyes, what about a Metal Gear Rex for 6-inch Metal Gear figure? No, we need a line of really good Metal Gear figures with good articulation. G-Brew, I'd love to see NECA do some Star Trek figures from across the franchise, mostly TOS, TNG, Deep Space Nine, Lower Decks, and Strange New Worlds, mainly for me. Lefty Two Lions, BK says the Rolling Thunder would be massive for classified. It would. Badger Wolf, a Death Star section would be perfect for a playset. Yeah, it would. Remember the old figure where it was just, or the old vehicle, the Death Star, which was just a bunch of columns. Let me see how fast I can pull that up. It did not take long at all. Let's go to the good folks at rebelscum.com to check a look at this old school Death Star playset. And boy, that is definitely a little bit different than my imagination would have led me to believe from what it was. But I mean, we got the garbage bin, we got the face off of Obi-Wan and Vader, we've got this little section so Luke can swing over to the other side. That's pretty cool. And then we got them blasted away. I mean, it's so not your Death Star that you're thinking of, but it's kind of fun that they did that. I wonder what a classified Black Series version of that would look like. The Blue Thunder in 112 says Cream Puff 666. Airwolf. Yeah, Devin, that'd be fun. Lar Mattel made that wrecking big rig with a crane and wrecking ball, which I also happened to see at TJ Maxx yesterday. So Rolling Thunder isn't that wild of an idea. And I have those. Those are, I think they charge $50 for them originally, and then Target clears them for 15 bucks. So really, really good deals there. Big Rib, Mr. Jeffrey, what's going on, Big Rib? Oh, Big Rib, man! I started collecting Joes after this, so I missed out on it. And now it seems like we're eventually going to get this, and it's not going to be tomorrow. But Hasbro did send out the notice to everyone who ordered this that you need to have your address correct and make sure that if you move, you change it by November 24th because they're going to start shipping them out. So if you have in that time frame of a year ago when you placed that order, you still got time to make that change. And Big Rib, I don't think you're going to have to worry about finding the his tank. It's just a matter of how much other people are going to charge for it. I think in this case, Big Bad Toy Store might be the one to check out first because they tend to get these HasLabs. How much more they're going to charge for it, I can't say, but they're probably going to be the best bet in terms of fair price where you won't have to worry about getting totally ripped off from secondary sellers that may steal some stuff out of it and then leave you all up in the air without it. Keith, a 112 city block complete with multi-story building interiors would be perfect for G.I. Joe and Marvel Legends. Shoot, I want that set that they used for the Giant Man photo shoot. I was like, yo, sell those buildings. I bet a lot of people do it. All about the villains, but the whale will be bigger than the his tank. I mean, those two vehicles don't necessarily, I mean, it doesn't have to be a size for size thing. I mean, I'm not going to have the his tank and the whale facing off against each other. I mean, it's a play set where you have the eels sneaking up on it and then, Cutter and Shipwreck fighting them off and maybe Tripwire going, or then Doc on the, I don't know. I mean, I'm going old school with the comic book, but lots of possibilities with that. Or Torpedo and Snow Job in there too. Northern Nomad, what's up, man? Devin, there's a remote control Airwolf. Airwolf series is some of the episodes. It's on a smart TV. Okay. I did like Airwolf. That was a fun show back in the day. Critical Enjoyer says my holy grail vehicle is Punisher's battle van. I feel like that's something they could and should do. And I know there was like some, I don't want to say it was a Barbie one, but it was like a Turtles van or something that everyone, like maybe like 15 years ago were getting from, like a Target or whatever, and then painting it black, really easy customization, putting up little grill walls so you could hang up his weapons. I had that, and I don't know why I don't have it anymore, but I was happy with it for, maybe it's because my Toy Biz figures were a little bit smaller than my Marvel Legends from Hasbro. I don't know what happened with it, but I think if you can find a nice van and some good spray paint, you can make that work. The Weekend Gamer. I love the idea of a G.I. Joe and Cobra Ace version of the APC. Oh, be fine. Keith agrees modular would be perfect for Terradrome since all those sections are largely identical, but for the details. Ryan says, I can see them doing the Cobra Missile Command headquarters. Modular pieces for control stations and a new painted diorama background. Homage to the original from 82. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. I know I didn't have that. So, Cobra Missile Command. Let's pull that up for everybody else who might be like me. And there we go. It's easy enough. You know what? That would be something they could do without too much hassle. And does it need to be, let's try to see here, logistics on that. How hard would that be for them to pull off? Okay, let's see the full thing. And there's lots of diorama pieces to it. So it's like the illusion is it's so much more, but it's funny because it's like an old school extreme set basically where you're tabbing a bunch of stuff in there and it's just cardboard, which is wild because, you see this stuff now and it's like, oh man, but this is what they did back then. So that's something they could do for sure. Did someone say Voltron? They did. Yeah, 80s. That was a really good show just in general. And both versions. I like the other one too. The Weekend Gamer. Yo, Jeff, if they do the whale, then the G.I. Joe battle platform would be a great thing to have. Yeah, I want the battle platform. I did have that, and that was really fun. And yeah, that's somewhere else you can have Shipwreck hang out too. I really want a Venom Snake figure and 6-inch figures. Yes. Mr. Cheeseburger, can we please get a Night Raven with the drone? Must have HasLab for G.I. Joe. I'm right there with you. I mean, the way they're going, maybe it doesn't even need to be a HasLab, but I'd buy it either way. Felix, backgrounds and diorama accessories for collector shelves would be nice. Yeah, I feel like they're missing out on a whole market that other companies are doing so well. But if, say, Marvel Legends did like a X-Men mansion or a Danger Room with some parts which you could create some three-dimensional aspects to it, G.I. Joe for sure could be another one. I mean, there's lots of options out there for them. And I feel like they're not really taking advantage of just yet. Randall says, I would love a 334 Viper from Battlestar Galactica. I want a whole wave of Battlestar Galactica figures. Weekend Gamer, love me some Y-Wing fighters. Anakin's Blue Starfighter in Black Series. 80s kid, that would be good too. Renegade Biker 24, I have a Battlestar Galactica diecast vehicle on my Battlestar collection. No, Battlestar Galactica collection on my channel playlist. Nice. Intimate Snob, Classified Fang 2. I want that as well. CH, we need all the Joe vehicles. Yeah, I'm with you. Can't argue with that. Felix says Metal Gear Rex. Yes. Don't forget about a Classified Fang. So you're saying there's a chance for the Rolling Thunder. I think it's pretty good now. Jeffrey, have you ever seen the Palitoy Death Star? Not until this very moment. Let's see. Let's see. We're talking about this here. This is kind of interesting. I've never, ever seen this. That's wild. Is the Palitoy Death Star the greatest toy playset ever made? I don't know. It kind of looks like it. Looks pretty cool from this quick version. Okay, well, since you're going to take me forever to load, I won't go to your page. But anyway, it looks pretty cool. And definitely something that would be worth checking out. But that's fun. Did you get that one, Jamie? Steven, my brother had that Death Star. The trash compactor was awesome. They should make that as a standalone playset. That's something else they could do. I feel like there's so much stuff the Black Series team just doesn't do. And it's like, you guys have Star Wars, arguably the greatest license to have. And I feel like they play it way too safe with things where they could just have fun going back to the old school days and just saying, hey, let's do this. I mean, even if it's just vintage collection, but I feel like there's so much more they could be doing than they are. Golden Arms 17 says, check out the Bandai Millennium Falcon. I do have that one. Intimate Snob, I would love an Airwolf. Mr. Cheeseburger, maybe a 112 scale Megazord to fit figures in it. That would be a cool one too. My hiss is a mint on card item. No plans to open it. Really? Oh man, that's really interesting. I'm going to very carefully open that really nice looking box. But man, I can't wait to make that one of the showcases of my G.I. Joe collection. For now. CH, I would absolutely have a classified whale in the bathtub. Golden R17, someone has 3D printed the whale. I've seen a few of them and they look cool. I don't know how much they charge for those, but I feel like it's possible. Oh, it's on Prime now? Nice. I need to hurry up and watch that. Amazon sent me that to review, so I'm behind now. Jamelin, his email made me anxious. I need to figure out where I'm going to put them. How many did you get, Jamelin? Dark Knight 297 says the G.I. Joe Classified 4-pack swamp skiers for Zartan and the Dreadnoks. Considering the skier should be the size of a cable remote. They're just making the same size they were in the cartoon. All About the Villain says, if we can get Terradrome for Cobra and the Technodrome for TMNT. Mr. Cheeseburger, Cobra Missile Command would be awesome as a fully funded HasLab. Wow. Jay says Sergeant Slaughter version 3 with a warthog would be awesome. I agree. I feel like that's definitely in the cards, something possible, something they could do. G-Brew, or if Marvel Legends did a Cerebro or Cerebro playset. Ryan, you're not going to want to hear this, but the Resistance Y-Wing from Rise of Skywalker was streamlined. It would make an easier Black Series vehicle. Really? I have to check that out. I'm sure a little touch of paint could make it work. Keith, I love some cheesy vinyl carrying cases for 112 figures. The old space case from the 80s. Those were fun. Matt O'Brien, happy Thursday, Lounge Figure Files. Hope you're having an awesome Thursday as we're going into Friday as well, Matt. Excuse me. Sheesh. Russell Lemieux wants to know, how about the 9s? I don't know about the 9s. It's almost at the 10s, though. Matt says, I would love a classified whale. Ryan says, I think Hasbro Star Wars division is held hostage by two competing fandoms, TVC and BS. Hasbro would love to focus on just one, but they can't sacrifice profits from the other. I'm curious, what do you think is making the most money for them? Because it seems like, at least from the chats that people seem, and not our chats, but the Hasbro chats in general, especially when the Star Wars ones, they seem to have more interest in the Black Series. Jalen, no, the Palatoy Death Star is a little before my time, and it's a British licensed version. Palatoy is the same company that made the Ashen Force version of G.I. Joe. I've read some of those comments. They were pretty fun. Mr. Cheeseburger, most people out on Marvel, Mcfarlane, and Black Series, I'm not seeing a lot of positive fandom lately. Oh, they just don't have too much stuff going on right now. Buck Rogers, Starfighter, Golden Arms. Hey, I've won a whole Buck Rogers line, so don't get me excited talking about Buck Rogers. That would be all about him. Jamelin, I ordered 2 his tanks. Not completely crazy. Hey, if you have the money, go for it. I mean, I would just be like, oh, man, you got 3 his tanks. That's awesome. But, man, it'd be fun to be on display, right? G-Brew never had the complete Technodrome playset. Had to use one, though. Even incomplete, it was dope. Yeah. Steak Juice says the Conquest X30 jet or a shark would be cool to get. Matt O'Brien says, now that I think about it, I take a classified Tomahawk, Whale, Dreadnought, Swamp Cabin. Oh, man, that would be fun. And you got to have it where you can like transform everything from a dusty, dingy swamp to a souped up, modernized computer lab or Technodrome. Russell, 49ers. Sorry, gotcha. I mean, we are not doing the best right now, but the NFC is weak. So I'm still optimistic that we will be there in the end of January and hopefully February. So I can stop anxiously waiting for that 6th ring. And then I can start going, now it's time for number 7. Mr. Cheeseburger, I don't want anything from The Rise of Skywalker or The Last Jedi. Those are elsewhere movies to me. Keith, Clone Wars Y-Wing, check it out. That's the one. Oh, Steven, I want an 18-man and crew as well. Intimates now. The Buck Rogers Starfighter. Take my money now. Mr. Cheeseburger says Buck Rogers needs to come back. Lost in Space. Heck, I would love more Morgan mini toys now. Nanu. Indeed. Let's do that. There we go. All right, let's see. I was with you. Listen, I think we're the same age range, so I translated no problem. Key says Clone Wars era Y-Wings had all the cladding still on them that was removed by the time of the OT. Oh, okay. Badger Wolf, let's resurrect DCUC with a Hall of Doom and Hall of Justice. I would be down for it. Jamlin, I haven't decided yet if I'm really keeping both, so heads up anyone who might be interested. Well, I thought we had somebody in the chat who still wanted one. Of course, now it's so many comments away that I don't remember. Working Mini was an awesome show. Lots of fun back then. All right, well, this is my alarm to take my medicine. So thank you all for hanging out with me again on a Thursday night. It's time to start watching some shows. We got Invincible and we got Loki and whatever that debacle is on Thursday Night Football. So Thank you so much, as always, for hanging out, spending a few hours here with me on Lyle's Figure Files and sharing your Holy Grail vehicles. Maybe somebody at Hasbro was like taking some notes, figuring out some ways to get that G.I. Joe headquarters, the Terrordrome, and having more incentive that there's a lot of collectors that would be down to get a Rolling Thunder. So thank you as always for tuning in. I'll be back on here maybe this weekend, talk about some other things that you all have requested I talk about. But for sure, I'll be on Lyle's Movie Files with a gang, talking about all the pop culture news on Wednesday. Then back here again on Thursday for another live edition of Lyle's Figure Files. Until then, this episode of Lyle's Figure Files has been filed.